Hello everyone, welcome back to our subject web technology. So today we are moving to our third unit regarding the host objects and server side programming. So first half of the unit we are going to discuss about one technology called as DOM, document object module, okay, and the remaining second half of the third unit we will be discussing about the server side programming called as servlets, okay. Today we are going to see an introductory concept of DOM, history and levels, and intrinsic event handling, okay. So before directly going into DOM, so what's the need of it, okay. So here everybody will be knowing about API, is it not? So API is an application programming interface. So it is a coding, okay. It's a software that provides some communication between different software components. For example, here one example is given. So when you buy an item in an e-commerce website, so definitely we will be using our credit card, is it not? So website, that e-commerce website is totally different from processing our credit card is it not? Validating it, whether the card has an amount, if we are using the debit card, and whether it is valid, it will check the expiry date, everything. So those are done by means of an API, okay. So those are exactly this example for API. So API is nothing but a way of communicating between the different software components, and of course DOM is one such an API that we are going to see it in today's topic. So DOM is expanded as document object model, okay. So it's an API. So what is the purpose of DOM? So it allows the JavaScript programs to interact with our HTML or XHTML documents, okay. So in the previous unit we have seen about the basic knowledge on JavaScript to interact with our web browser, is it not? So to interact, for example, when we click a mouse or when we press a button, an interaction or an event takes place, is it not? So when we press a button, so it will take us to some validation process, or it will take us to somewhere else, is it not? So that event processing is done by means of DOM, okay. So DOM provides the built-in object concepts that has various properties and methods that allows the user to make modifications in the displayed content of HTML via JavaScript, okay. So JavaScript program access the DOM objects that we have seen in the previous section about objects like document and window, is it not? So window is an one object, okay. So that we are saying as an DOM object. So what we are doing with the window, we are able to we have seen about methods like alert and prompt, is it not? So while our HTML document gets displayed in the browser, we have a little interaction that we have seen in the demo section itself in the previous unit about alert and prompt, a simple thing we have seen. And today we are going to discuss in detail about more functionalities that supports DOM, okay. So DOM is nothing but an API, so that allows the JavaScript program to have high user interactive with the displayed HTML document, okay. So using the JavaScript at runtime, we could change some of the contents in the web browser by means of DOM, okay. So I will walk you with simple examples. So before that we will see where that DOM meets okay. So JavaScript meets HTML and CSS, so is it not? So by means of DOM, okay, JavaScript has a rich features that can interact with the HTML document by means of objects, okay. So that that interactivity is provided by the technology called as DOM, document object model. For example, games, online games, scrolling effect, drop down menu items, form validation, so animations. We have seen all those things, interactions by means of JavaScript, and of course that is enabled to the JavaScript by means of the DOM concept. Okay. So I'll take you a little exploration of this website beta tab. Okay. See here, press any key A to Z or spacebar and turn on the speaker. So let me just press some key, spacebar. So the browser content gets varied when I have an, this is pressing the key. I think you could able to hear the voice. Okay, for each and every character some sound is displayed, and pressing the spacebar changes the screen. This is one interaction, is it not? So when I interact, the thing gets altered over here like this. You could play around here. This is by means of DOM feature. Okay, so using the DOM feature, that's how JavaScript enables the user to have much interaction with the, excuse me, so JavaScript gives all the features via DOM. Okay. So here, so DOM actually plays an interface between the JavaScript and HTML and CSS. Okay. So take an example. This is our HTML program. What the DOM will do is it will visualize this HTML program in a tree structure manner. Okay, so you will be knowing the concept of tree. The topmost will have one root element followed by its child nodes, and it has siblings, and finally the leaf node. I think you might have come across in DAE and data structure also. So the browser will convert the HTML element into JavaScript objects so that it could manipulate the document easily. Okay, so here the topmost root element is the DOM, and followed by the root element is the HTML, and the HTML root element has two children, head and the body. And in the head we have the elements like title, and in the title we have the content, is it not? My title, that is the text. Using the text property we could make changes in this title. Okay, and everything here will be viewed as an object. So it will convert the HTML document is visualized by DOM by means of a tree structure. Okay, so the body is an element, and inside the body we have two more elements, anchor element and header element. Okay, and anchor element has the attribute hrefs, is it not? Hrefs, and it has the text. Anchor element has the text content as my link, and we have the header which whose text content is my header. So this HTML document is visualized as a tree structure using the DOM. Okay, to have then that tree structure has will be converted as an object, and the object has lot of properties and methods to interact with those HTML documents at runtime. We could make changes when the user gets interacted with those documents. Okay, it's quite easy, simple and interesting though. Okay, let's have a simple example. I will take you to the demo part of this rollover effect. So rollover in the sense, when I place the mouse over the image, it gets changed. When I move the mouse out of the image, it will change it. It is one interaction, is it not? So that is this is possible by means of DOM capability. Okay, I will take you to the example. Before that, let's see what that DOM defines. Okay, so DOM is a standard object model and programming interface for HTML document. It defines HTML elements as objects. Okay, so only by means of those objects we could make changes in those HTML documents via JavaScript. Okay, then it provides the object provides various methods and properties to access the elements and make change over it. Okay, and finally it has the it defines the DOM defines an event for all the HTML elements. Event in the sense where when you press a button, that is an event. Some interactivity it provides. Okay, when you press a button, what should happen, so where should go, so those things has to be handled by event handler. I'll take you in the forthcoming slides what an event slides, etc. Okay, so before that I'll take you to this demo version of this rollover. Okay, and so let me directly show the output and I'll explain the program. Okay, so here is one image. Look at here, my mouse is over here, and when I place the mouse over the image, it gets changed. When I move the mouse out of the image, it put back the original image. Okay, this is rollover, and we can't achieve this this rollover with HTML alone. Okay, so by means of JavaScript access the previous image and it replaces the previous image into new image when the mouse is moved on it. Okay, when the mouse move over this, and when the mouse moves out of this image, the JavaScript again puts back the original image. Okay, now I'll take you to the coding part, how the thing gets achieved. Okay, it's quite simple. Okay, so here is our root element. This is the HTML5 version I am using it. That's what it's simply exclamation doc type, and in the HTML we have the header part, the title and the script. Okay, I'm writing the script in an external file and inserting it here. Okay, using the script element, and the source file is one rollover.js, and one more line, this one meta element. So meta is one HTML element that need to be used when we use an intrinsic event handler like on mouse over, on mouse out. So these are some of the examples for events. Okay, so these events will be naming as intrinsic HTML events. Okay, so when we use this, we have to use this meta element. What it says means the default language for scripting is JavaScript. Okay, so this one says what's that default content script type for this document. Okay, so this is actually mentioned in the header field of the response message, HTTP header field of the response message. In the header field named as HTTP equivalent, it says what's the scripting language that this document is used, and in the content property will be mentioning it as the JavaScript. Okay, so simply you just remember, whenever we use the events like on mouse over, on mouse or, so there are some lot of events are there. So when we use that, we need to use this meta element in the header field. And apart from that, we have then image. Okay, image ID is equal to image1. So here ID, here I am giving the name for this element image as ID is equal to image1. So using this ID, we'll be retrieving this image element via this ID in the later part of our JavaScript and making changes of that image. Okay, initially source of this image is this tree, and alternate I am giving if the element if the image is not displayed by the browser, means the alternate text gets displayed, and on mouse over. So it means when I move the mouse over the image, it calls the JavaScript function. This one show is the function which takes two arguments. One argument is this element image, and change the image to the other one. When the mouse is moved out of it, they put back the image. Okay, I hope you are all following with me. That's it, only these two lines. Okay, now I'll take you what that one rollover.js. I think let me open this file in bracket editor. Okay, so here is the definition for the function show. Okay, so I hope you will be knowing it how to define the function in JavaScript. Okay, so just use the function keyword, the function name. It takes two arguments. The first argument is the image ID and the second argument is the here the URL says about the image, which image, one tree or one this one. The second element is one flyover image or one tree image. Okay. Okay, then what we are doing in the second line, variable element is equal to window.document.get element by id. Okay, so this is how we will be interacting with the HTML elements. Okay, so get element by id is one method. Okay, it is used to retrieve the HTML element by means of, excuse me, by means of id, because in the HTML element we have given image id is equal to img1, is it not? So we are going to retrieve the image element via get element by id using the object window.document. Okay, and passing the argument as first argument element id. Okay, and the element id here what we have passed, image1. Okay, that's the id name. And here after retrieving that image element, what we need to do, we need to change the whenever we call this function we need to change the image, is it not? So we could set the we could replace the image by using the set attribute method for this image element via this variable element. So currently this element is an object. Okay, this element is an object, so that holds the image element. Okay, and we are going to change the source of this image by calling the set attribute method. And what we are doing in the first argument, we are passing the attribute name as source. In this image element, change the source element value as this one URL. So first time when we place the mouse over the image, we will be passing one image, is it not? So that image will be replaced over here as the source element. Okay, it's quite simple. It takes using the set attribute, we are going to change the image of the element. Okay, and that's it. I'll just take you to the execution and I'll show it once again that we have seen already. Okay, that's it. Okay, so initially this element is displayed when this event happened. What event? On mouse over. When I move the mouse over the image gets changed. When I move the mouse out of it, the image gets replaced by the original image. Okay, that's it. So this interactivity happens here. I am using only the JavaScript HTML, that's it, is it not? But here indirectly the DOM plays the key role over here. So these features are provided by DOM. Okay, so on mouse over is an intrinsic event element we used to say, but here in the JavaScript, so we could change the image elements. Image is an element, HTML element, we could change its value. Okay, so via the properties and methods like set attribute. Okay, so here we are using the method. Okay, set attribute. This feature is we are getting this feature by means of DOM. Okay, and move back to our presentation. Okay, so simple event handling. Okay, HTML element with its corresponding object. Okay, see here. So in this example, we have seen image is an HTML element and ID is it takes two attributes, ID and the source. So we'll using DOM we could access this element. We are interacting, is it not? In the while at runtime we are interacting with the image, is it not? So we need to fetch that image element. So via DOM, DOM provides that feature. Via this object document, and this document has the one method called as get element by ID. So here ID is image1. So if we pass the argument image1, we are able to access this image element, and later using the set attribute we are changing its source element, is it not? So this is how the interaction with the HTML element via JavaScript takes place with the help of document object model. Okay. More interesting the topic is, okay, when we explore a lot and have a practical, and when we practice it, it's quite interesting to learn more about DOM. Okay, there's a little demo on DOM and have its history and levels. Okay, so very simple DOM document object model was part of Netscape Navigator 2.0. From 2.0 onwards, the DOM plays a role. Okay, it was the introductory part. Okay, on Netscape 2.0 version onwards. Okay, so there it includes only the write function, where we could write the content dynamically when the thing gets displayed. When the HTML document gets displayed, we could change it, and some of the form controls and anchor element change dynamically by means of JavaScript. Okay, only few features are enabled during the introductory part of DOM in Netscape 2.0. and later the image rollover comes in this version Netscape 3.0, and from Netscape 4 onwards and Internet Explorer version 4, it plays a dominant role. The DOM APIs has played a important role over making interaction with the web elements. Okay, then since two browsers are in competition to have their own APIs, then there comes the W3 consortium, World Wide Web Consortium, responded quickly to go for standardizing the DOM features, and it has versions like DOM1 consisting of only two modules like core part and HTML modules in 98, followed by DOM level 2 with the 4 modules. Core HTML events and styles were introduced in DOM 2, followed by the latest version we are in DOM 3 level. Okay, and much more about intrinsic event handling. Okay, so let's have a little more note about what an event handling and intrinsic events. Okay, so an event is nothing but an interaction with the HTML element, and it gets respond. Okay, an event is an action that occurs as a result of user or another source such as mouse click or key press. Okay, that is an event. When we press, that is an event. When we release, that is an event. When we type something in the HTML document, that is one event. So when we type, what should happen after that? It needs to take that value and process it, is it not? So that is said to be an event handler. So event handler is a method or a routine that is used to deal with an event. Okay, when we press a button, so the respective action has to take place, is it not? So that action is defined using the event handler. Okay, so JavaScript functions are normally not called. Okay, so instead it is called only when some event happens. As I said, JavaScript don't have the main method because it's an event driven language. Event driven in the sense only when we interact it will respond, otherwise there is no response, is it not? So for example, in the Google browser, in the Google website, if we simply open the Google website, nothing will happen. When we search something, it responds back, is it not? So that's those are event driven languages. Okay, so it will respond only when the user interacts with the website. So See here is intrinsic event handlers are ways to attach specific scripts to documents that are executed only when something happens to an HTML element. Okay, so the intrinsic event handlers. Intrinsic event handlers are event handlers that will respond only when the HTML when we interact with the HTML element. So here in this example, image is an HTML element. When we click, the image gets changed. That is an interaction. Okay. So here HTML intrinsic event attribute is used to specify a script to be called. Only when the event gets occurred. Okay, so here for example we have seen about on mouse over, on mouse move, on mouse out, on submit. So some of the event handlers are there. Okay, so whose name is prefixed by using this word on. Okay, followed by the event name. Mouse over, mouse out, mouse move, these are some of the events, and here I am listing some more events. Apart from that, MDN, it's nothing but Mozilla's developer network. It lists more than 300 different events. You could explore all those events by visiting this link, and these are some of the HTML intrinsic event attributes. Okay, these are the attributes for the HTML elements, is it not? So in the demo version we have seen inside the image element we have the attribute like ID, source, on mouse over, on mouse out. These are nothing but the attributes. Okay, so on load, on unload, when the page loads, what should happen, when we unload, what should happen, when we click, double click, mouse up, down, over, move. These are some of the intrinsic HTML event attributes which we could specify for the specific element. Okay, only those element gets activated. Okay, and here is on some more example which utilizes many HTML event attributes like onload. So when the body part of this element, when the body part of this HTML document gets loaded, what should happen? So it will alert body loaded. When we close it, or when we move out of, when we close it, so it's nothing but on unload. So while unloading, we will get some message. Okay, and form, on submit, while submitting the form, it displays some information. While resetting, it displays some other information. Likewise, lot of HTML intrinsic elements attributes are used here. On select, on click, on focus, on reset is there. No, okay. So on reset we have seen over here. Okay, so just you just practice this example and get in deep knowledge on these HTML event attributes. Okay, and final note about this intrinsic event attribute is this one. Okay, so whenever we use this on mouse over, on mouse out, on click, on double click, these are intrinsic event attributes. Whenever we use that attributes, we need to use the meta element in the header part. As I discussed, it tells the browser, it tells the default language, what default language is used for this script, for this document. So here in this example, in the content attribute, we are specifying the default scripting is JavaScript. Okay, and generally this intrinsic event attribute handling should be avoided. Okay, there are much more different ways of handling it instead of using the HTML attributes. These are HTML attributes, is it not? On mouse over, on mouse out, on double click, these are all HTML elements. Instead of that, we could use the JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript provides lot of different varieties of events. These are all provided by the HTML elements. These are attributes for the HTML elements. Using the JavaScript, we can have our own function to have interaction with the HTML elements. Okay, so from the designer's point of view, it is recommended not to use this intrinsic event attribute. Instead, it is recommended to use the JavaScript functions. So in the forthcoming topics, we are going to see more about it, and with this introductory part of document object model, I'll give you this little exercise. You just explore it in the Chrome browser. Just open the Google Chrome console and check out these 4 outputs, document.url, and see what's happening, document.head, body and links. Okay, try these 4 lines and get much more experienced on this DOM. Okay, and I'll meet you in the next session. Till then, thank you all.